All right. If you haven't given up on your 2024 goals yet, I think you should stick to it. I try to bring on the very best guests to educate you in the political sphere as well as the economic sphere. And today we're going to be going over the U.S. economy, how to do well with your money, be better with your money. And I have with me Michael Lush. Michael, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me again, Stephen.
So, you're a business owner. I believe you own 7 successful businesses. Um,
Six successful. One of them I would consider a charity.
one, okay.
Yeah.
I own 2 or 3 myself, and I know that business owners tend to think different than W-2 employees. And so I want to just bring some of that thinking because one of my goals is to lift everybody around me, lift their vibration, lift their education on political things, lift their education on financial things. It's why I've written 7 financial books, even though I don't really promote them. So I want to get into what the heck is going on with the U.S. economy. People are wondering, is my 401k going to crash, or is it about to go to the moon? Are interest rates going to drop? Are we going to have a new president? Can I afford gas, groceries, all of that stuff? So I want to get into that, but I know you guys have a financial seminar coming up, I believe, starting on Monday. Really
Correct.
quickly, tell us about that, and then I want to jump right into my first question.
Yeah, a lot of the things that we're going to talk about after the fact is things that there are some things that we can control, and there's a lot of things that we can't control. We can't control inflation, we can't control what interest rates do, but we can control our own economy. And that's essentially what our seminar is next week, is we call it Create Your Own Economy. And there's a lot of things that you can do either defensively or offensively to kind of shield yourself from all these external factors that you don't have control over. So we'll spend 5 days, and it's not 5 full days. So I don't want to scare people. They're like, I don't have 5 freaking full days to commit to this. So it starts at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time each night, Monday through Friday, and we'll go to about 7 p.m. So we're going to cover everything that we do under the umbrella that is Replace Your University. So we're going to talk about replace your mortgage. What are some better ways to finance real estate? A lot of folks don't realize that there's alternatives to financing real estate, and they think that the only way to finance real estate is with a 30-year mortgage. And I'm not saying the alternative being a 15 or a 10-year mortgage. I'm saying not a mortgage at all. There are ways to finance real estate with simple interest lines of credit that banks have readily available, and actually they're doling it out in droves right now, especially in this economy. So whether that's a home equity line of credit, a business line of credit, or a commercial line of credit, any type of line of credit, and we show folks how to get their entire mortgage transferred over to a simple interest line of credit, combine it with a cash flow strategy. We've had over 8,000 clients on average pay their home off in 5 to 7 years. If you choose to pay your home off, you don't have to. So that's one vertical. Then we've got Replace Your Employer, which is showing people on the more offensive side, how do we create some additional cash flow assets to kind of shield ourselves from the rise of inflation, also to protect ourselves for what could be a recession and maybe some layoffs as far as jobs. Shield yourself from that. Start acquiring some cash flow assets either with your money, or we'll show you how to do it without your money. Then we have Replace Your Retirement that shows you how to encapsulate this and protect it from taxation. Replace Your Dollar. We'll get into what Nancy Pelosi does as far as corporate insider trading, and how to do things and automate things so that you can earn some residual income on the side in the markets like the big dogs do. And when I say big dogs, I don't mean the hedge funds. I mean like Nancy Pelosi. And then we get into Replace Your Mindset, which is how to think differently. This is a complete paradigm shift. And you have to think differently, not only about your money, but everything that you're doing as far as your family, your spirituality, et cetera. So when you look at everything, we call it Create Your Own Economy, because that's essentially what we're doing is we're building a parallel economy. I'll be honest with you and transparent, in the last 2 years, it doesn't really matter a whole lot what's going on in the marketplace today. I've shielded myself from that. Quite frankly, I would do better if we were to dip into a recession. I understand a lot of people would not do better if we dipped into a recession, but me personally, I would actually gain in a recession. So we're going to teach those strategies because there's always a recession. There's always going to be a recession. And how can you magnify your wealth during recessions and encapsulate yourself from the downside too?
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to leave a link down below to that where
Mhm.
people can learn more and sign up. Now, my first question is, we have a presidential election coming up.
Mhm.
This means that the sitting government is going to try to get gas prices down, brag about how rich they've made everybody, all the jobs they've created, a booming stock market, and more. But one area that they want to influence that I don't know that they'll be able to will be interest rates.
Hmm.
I read yesterday inflation is sadly starting to creep back in. This has some believing that maybe they won't be able to lower interest rates in 2024, while others
Hmm.
are saying, oh, they're definitely dropping rates in March of this year. What are your thoughts as you look at the market?
If I was a betting man, they are definitely going to decrease interest rates. The question is it going to be in March or is it going to be in June? I read an economist, this was months ago. There was one economist that was predicting 6 rate cuts this year. At first, everyone thought he was crazy. He's like, where is this coming from? Then the Fed comes out and says, we are projecting 3 rate cuts in 2024, 4 rate cuts in 2025, and 3 more in 2026. Now, when he had a 15% chance of getting those 6 rate cuts, that has started to swing in the neighborhood of 40 to 50% chance that we get 6 rate cuts. I don't know that we're going to get 6 rate cuts. I think, let's play the average there. We might get 4 rate cuts. I don't know that it will happen as soon as March. Yesterday, we did have a report that inflation was creeping up a little bit more than expected. I think it was a 0.3% increase. So year over year, you're looking at 3.4% inflation. However, I just saw a headline as you were talking, and I think a new report came out as far as wholesale inflation has actually gone down. So that's actually building some more momentum about a March rate cut. So that's really exciting for us because we haven't been able to practice this business model in a decreasing interest rate environment, right? So we've been successful in the face of interest rates over the last 2 years skyrocketing, and we've still been successful, very successful, especially with some of the strategies that we teach dealing with variable rate lines of credit. Now we have the benefit of rates going down, which just means you're going to gain efficiencies with what we teach. So we're pretty excited about what's to come.
Yeah. You've lived as a mortgage person, you've lived through rates
Hmm.
going up, you've lived through them coming back down, the joy of that. They typically were raising them by 50 basis points or 0.5%. And then they kind of tapered to 0.25%. As they do start to come back down, do you see them almost like weightlifting where you rise in weight and then come back down? Do you think that they're going to come back down about 0.25 basis point, or do you think it will be closer to a half 50 basis points?
I think that they will start small. I think they'll start with a quarter basis point. However, something else to understand is, when we had this almost 2 years of increasing interest rate environment, what we're seeing now with inflation is a result of what they did 6 to 9 months ago as far as interest rates. And we've had rate increases since then, right? So there is a lag, and there will also be a lag when it comes to cutting rates. So let's say they do cut in March. I think at best it's going to be a 0.25% rate cut. However, when they meet again, they may be like, okay, some of those rate increases we had a year ago are starting to have a stronghold, and we need to correct this quickly. And now you might see them ramp up a little bit.
Okay, interesting. Okay.
Mhm.
If rates go down, is that going to send home prices up again, or are they going to hold because people are kind of starting to tap out on the monthly amount of money they can put towards a mortgage payment?
It is going to skyrocket. If you think real estate is expensive now, just wait 6 to 12 months from now. Once these rate decreases take hold, you've got a lot of people that, and again, it just comes from misinformation and a lack of education on the finance side and on the real estate side. You've got pent up demand, people sitting on the sidelines waiting for these interest rates to drop to say, yes, now I'm going to buy.
Okay.
Honestly, right now is the time to buy, because even if you're buying, see, we have a saying, and we didn't coin this phrase. I've heard this for years: is marry the home, not the loan. What you get into if you purchase now is you've locked in that purchase price at this price right now, right? However, rates are going to go down, therefore values are going to go up because you have all these people sitting on the sideline that are waiting for rates to drop to get back into the market. But now they're going to get back into the market at a much higher price. So you get in now, and even though the interest rate may not be ideal, we have a pretty good probability that interest rates are going to go down, and you can always refinance to make it even more affordable. Now, again, we're talking about mortgages here. There is something that we do that is almost what we call interest rate immune, where if you get it into a home equity line of credit and adopt a cash flow strategy that allows you to remain liquid, it decimates the amount of interest that you're paying. So as Americans, we have to have a paradigm shift of the way that we think about financing real estate, that it's not about interest rate, it's about rate of interest. How much interest are we actually going to pay over the long haul financing that property? That's what we're really good at. So yes, it helps when interest rates come down, but I think if you're sitting on the sidelines thinking, I'm going to wait for interest rates to come down to purchase a home, let's say it's a $500,000 house, in a year, that could be a $700,000 house. So although interest rates came down, you now have that $200,000 gap of appreciation that you have to account for in the purchase price. Didn't really save you any money, where you can get in at 500 and then just refinance later.
Yeah, interesting. Okay. Speaking of things going up, did you see that former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi out-earned every hedge fund manager in New York City? How on earth does she do that without insider trading and cheating? I can't. It blows my mind.
I don't think it is without insider trading. It's in, somebody had made the comment that they were immune to insider trading, and that's not true. It's still a crime for politicians to have inside information that the general public doesn't have. But it's very hard to prove on that side. So, and you're talking about 2023. I haven't looked at 2022 or 2021. I would bet that she's also outperformed those hedge funds in 2022 and 2021. Yeah. So what is it that she knows, and how can we gain from that? That's really the question: is how do we gain from what she knows? Believe it or not, there are programs that you can follow what these Fortune 500 CEOs are doing, what these politicians are doing. I mean, how do you make $185,000 a year, and then you're in Congress, and now you're worth hundreds of millions of dollars? So there are softwares and programs where you can follow what their trades are, but you are not bound to the information that they acquire. Okay, so like for instance, a Fortune 500 CEO may have to dump a stock or purchase some of their shares back. They have to hold that position for 6+ months, right? We don't, as general Americans. So we can follow what their transactions are, and we can make the same trades. And we've got a program that's been beating the S&P 500. I've got a buddy, Ross. I think he's a buddy of yours as well. He's doing really well with outpacing the S&P 500. So we can do things that these corporate insider traders are doing, but we're not bound to those legalities.
Yeah. Did you see that this came out just before we got on? Herz, who has been, following the Biden brainwashing of the electric cars and all of that, they came out of bankruptcy, then they bought like 100,000 Teslas or something like that. And now they're saying, we're going to sell 20,000 electric vehicles because electric vehicles don't line up with our company values or our consumers' values. Gasoline cars are the way to go forward. Did you see that coming? What are your thoughts on that?
No, I didn't see it coming. I don't follow Hertz, but the first thing that comes to mind is, does that mean that they're not going to have a business in California? Because California has a stipulation that everything has to move over to electric, I think, by 2030. So does that mean that Hertz is not going to operate inside the state of California, assuming California can actually get that done? It's funny because, my son is, we homeschool, but he does the tutorial, and one of his science projects, he gets to pick what his science project is, and he loves cars. He knows everything about Lamborghinis, Bugattis. He could see a car and he's like, did you see that? I was like, I don't even know what I'm looking for, but he understands it. So, he went down one rabbit hole, and I said, what about this? Why don't we do a science project on the efficiency of electric cars versus gasoline? Because, you look at Tesla's coming out, or has came out with a semi, that's, battery powered, but it can only go 300, 400 miles, where our diesel trucks today can go 2,000 miles. So, they think that they're saving the climate by moving everything to electric, but electric is made by what? Coal. Okay, so you want to get rid of the coal mines, but you also want to move to electric, but you don't want to have anything to do with nuclear. And then there's the waste question as well. What do you do with all of these batteries? What about the mines, for the nickel and whatnot that they have to mine to make these batteries? What's going on there? So if they're truly about saving the climate and helping people out, it could actually present a bigger problem. Now, maybe that's where Hertz is coming from. Like, look, we're looking at the EV industry and realizing it could be causing more harm than good. And that's why they want to stick with gasoline. Yeah. And until we can get on the same page that nuclear is the most efficient carbon emission power that we have, I don't know where we go from here. You're just always going to be divided into two camps, whether it's EV or gasoline.
Yeah.
But right now, EV just has a long ways to go to catch up to what the performance and efficiency is of gasoline.
Yeah, yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I've done a lot of research. I let my community know a couple years ago about a company, Uranium Energy, that this is not like a plug for them or anything, but
Hmm.
that stock's up like 150% as
Hmm.
more and more countries, especially China and Europe, they're saying, wait a minute, this is clean energy. It's cheap to mine. But I think we think about Chernobyl and Fukushima, and we think, okay, one more meltdown and we're going to lose the planet or create Godzilla. And the reality is most of the reactors perform very, very well for decades. They create almost 25% of all the energy. And so it will definitely move that way. Last thing, I read that, during my years of growing up in my 30s, if you could become a millionaire,
Hmm.
you could expect to have a fairly comfortable retirement. Now I'm reading on Yahoo Finance that number is closer to 2 million. So I know you guys have this upcoming seminar. It's an hour, each night. You're going to stay on and like you have in the past. But what can be done? What are you guys going to teach in this seminar that could help people create more money, keep more of the money that they have? Because my concern is we're going to have a lot of millennials that have no money. We're going to have
Hmm.
baby boomers. We have leading baby boomers and trailing baby boomers. Leading baby boomers are significantly wealthier than trailing baby boomers. So what are
Hmm.
some of the things that you guys are going to talk about? Tell us more about this upcoming seminar.
Yeah. So to your point, you used to be able to retire on 1 million. Now they're saying it's going to have to be 2 million. And again, they're using data that is outdated information and it's very inefficient. So again, one, they're assuming that most people finance their home with a mortgage, a 30-year mortgage. And most people do. 98% of Americans finance real estate on a 30-year mortgage. However, let's say you bought a $400,000 house and you finance it on a 30-year mortgage and you never refinance. If you refinance, you actually exacerbate the issue, even if you were to chase a lower interest rate. You're going to pay about $650,000 to $700,000 for that home when it's all said and done if you were to finance it and actually pay it off in 30 years, which most Americans don't do. So that's one of the reasons why they had to move the needle from 1 million to 2 million, because most of our net worth is part of the asset that we have, which is real estate. So if we can play defense there and get a lot more efficient, then maybe it doesn't have to be 2 million. Maybe it needs to be 1.5. Then we need to talk about the offensive side of it, or let's stick on defensive. A lot of our wealth is also gobbled up in taxes, us paying more than our fair share of taxes. So the government is $34 trillion in debt. Name one business that the government has overseen and actually improved. They don't. They don't even do a good job spending their own money. So where do they have the right to tell us what to do with our money? So what can we do to insulate a lot of our net worth from taxation? Because that's what's being stolen from us, is this taxation. So we're going to talk about those two topics, how to be defensive, but then we're going to have three other topics where we're going to talk about how to be offensive. And I'm a big fan of this day and age, where it is a lot easier. I talk about this all the time. Let's say you're a household making $5,000 a month and you've mastered your budget. I mean, you've gotten it dialed in and you're at $2,500 a month in expenses. And then you hear somebody like Dave Ramsey saying, you're spending too much, you need to cut $1,000. I'm of the mindset that you can only cut so far. If you take $1,000 of expenses from somebody that's already whittled it down to 2,500, it is damn near impossible, and it's going to be very painful. But I believe that we live in a prosperity environment, an abundance environment, where there's a lot more opportunities than what we had 10 or 15 years ago. It is a lot easier to go out and earn an additional 1,000 than it is to reduce $1,000 of expenses. Now, I'm not saying don't cut into your budget and eliminate the waste. You absolutely should, because you're going to gain efficiencies. However, in today's technology and in today's environment and marketplace, it's a heck of a lot easier to go out and make an additional $1,000. I met a 17-year-old. This was about a year ago. I was buying a chicken tractor for our homestead. And a lot of people don't know what a chicken tractor is. It's just a mobile chicken coop, very
Okay.
easily put together. Yeah, you probably didn't know either. But It was $400, and I built one myself, and it took me 3 or 4 hours to build it. And I saw one on Facebook Marketplace. And I'm like, 400. That, yeah, saved me 4 hours of time, and I'll just buy it for you. So I go and pick it up, and I'm thinking it's his father, his mother, or whatever is helping him out. It's just him. And I was like, okay, so you do all this. You built all this. He said, yeah, I built all these. I said, okay. Well, how many of you built in roughly a year? He said about 500. It takes me about an hour and a half to 2 hours to build one of these. And I've built and sold about 400 of those. So if you do the math, $400 times 400 chicken tractors is $160,000. Now that's his gross. That's not what he netted. He's got cost of materials and time and whatnot. But this 17-year-old is not sitting on the sideline. He's out there hustling and probably making $80,000-$90,000 a year in his spare time. And I did the math. It takes him about 26 weeks. He is homeschooled. Imagine that. So he's homeschooled, and in his spare time, he's building these chicken tractors. He's understanding economics. He's understanding how to create his own economy. He's understanding finance and what hard work looks like. And if he can do it, why can't we do it? So it's little things like that we have the capabilities of doing in this environment and the market that we live in today, that if you have an abundance mindset, it's out there. There's tons of opportunity. You just got to know where to look and how to execute.
Great. Okay, so this coming Monday through Friday, tell me about the seminar. Does it cost money? Yep.
Yes.
Go through that.
Yes, it's $97 to attend it. Now, you will pay $97. However, we donate to 2 charities, Heart of Champion Sports and Aerial Recovery. So every person that attends, that $97, we are going to donate to Aerial Recovery and Heart of Champion Sports, 2 charities that we have a strong passion and we align in our principles and values. So somebody would say, well, why isn't it free? Because if it's free, you just don't show. I'm just going to be honest with you. We want you to show. We want you to consume this information so that it can change your life and impact your life and the people around you. So yes, it'll be Monday at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And we're also going to stay over to answer any questions that you may have. And we don't hold anything back. This isn't like a teaser. We're going to give you a little bit of value. We're going to spell it all out for you. And we're going to spend as much time as you possibly need in order to grasp all these concepts. And it's not hard stuff. We're talking 3rd grade math. Anybody can execute on this. They just didn't even know it existed. They didn't understand the banking system and that the modern day mortgage was designed to keep us enslaved to debt. It doesn't have to be that way. We'll show you how.
Yeah. Well, I'm 41 years old. I'm sitting in a house that's paid off because of you. You guys showed me how to think differently about banking and about money and mortgages. And my wife and I, we've been very disciplined. We tightened our budget and we applied that extra income, and boom, we're done. And it is so nice to not have. So make it 8,001 people that you guys have helped. But that's great. So people pay so that they'll pay attention, but you guys are donating that to 2 different charities, and then it's Monday through Friday for an hour, but then you guys are going to stay over and answer any questions that they have. Okay, cool.
Absolutely.
So is there going to be a link that I can leave down below that takes people over to sign up?
Yes, and I specifically want them to use your link because we have a special gift for just Stephen Gardner YouTubers. People that follow you, we got a special gift for them. So I want them to use your link. So yes, I don't know it off the top of my head. I know my team probably has a link. So we'll make sure that you have it and you can put it in the comments below.
Okay, I will make sure to put it down below. Thank you so much for coming on, giving us an idea of what's going to happen with the interest rates, with mortgages, with the stock market. Maybe how to piggyback on Nancy Pelosi's good luck. But I like bringing optimistic people on because there's so much negative in the news right now, and most of us need to feel like there's something better. Our best days are ahead of us. So thank you for coming on, Michael, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thanks again, Stephen.